When you look back at London and St. Kitts and Nevis, what are your thoughts? How do you feel? What are the lessons there you think for St. Kitts and Nevis?
The London Olympics?
Well, St. Kitts and Nevis at the London Olympics.
Right.
What happened with Kim Collins and Tameka Williams and the brouhaha and the missing people at the function and the that sort of thing. So I was wondering whether you would expand a bit on how you feel, because now you've had some time to ponder and hear all the different sides,
Firstly, there seemed to have been a notion in the country that the Prime Minister had a function on that Saturday, the same Saturday when the young lady was sent home, the young athlete was sent home, and the athletes boycotted the function. I didn't have any function. I just want to make it clear. I didn't want to get into the fray then, but now the hey, hi has gone. I think I can comment on these things. I didn't have any function. Let me tell you what had happened. The people of St. Kitts and Nevis, who are living in the United Kingdom, had been so pleased and happy that St. Kitts and Nevis was adequately represented at the Olympics, that for months and weeks they had been planning to come together at the High Commission office in London to have a function to celebrate the presence of the athletes. I also would have been there, and the management team and the officials for the Olympics team. And so we were invited. I was invited. They were invited. And the people had cooked up a storm, had cooked all kind of meals, all kind of dishes, I should say. They had masquerade. They had all kind of cultural activities to demonstrate how pleased they were to have the athletes from home at the London Olympics. They were the ones who were disappointed, not me. I went there and I had a hell of a good time. I went, but the athletes were missing in action. But I had a good time, and it was not my function at all. So that, I understand, was being carried by, must be Win FM, I think it was. Or the media houses, they said. Oh, Bacchus is laughing. I think that is why it's important for guys to check. At least ask my press secretary before things like these go to the media, because that was not true at all. Sent back something home and I said, you know what? Kill it. No comment. The Thursday was the day that I was again invited to the village to visit and speak with the team and to give them some motivation. At the same time, the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Dr. Kenny Anthony, was going to visit, so we decided we'll visit around the same time, and he would speak to our athletes as well. He's the chairman of CARICOM. So I went to their residence, spoke with them, gave them a little pep talk here and there, and then we sat down to have lunch together, and then Kenny spoke with them, and then we had a tour of the entire village. I was not in any way troubled. I noticed that Kim was not there at that time, and I did inquire, and they told me that his wife had come in, and so he was with his wife. And nobody, I think, made any big thing out of that, because they had given him permission to be off with his wife. So there was no big thing. Again, I wasn't angry. It wasn't anything to me. I did what I had to do. I was invited. I went, and they told me that his wife had come in, was a day or two, and he was with his wife, and so that was it. Pour me in, have nothing to do with what is going on. nothing.
Well, as you look back, Mr. Prime Minister, follow in terms of the expectations of people in the future.
Yes.
Sorry. Let me repeat. Looking back, though, as leader of the country, to the expectations people had, there were high hopes. That's what they've been one of the best Olympics for St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yes.
And in the wake of what actually played out in the end, I wanted to know how you felt about that and the lessons for the country.
I really want to be frank with this, because when the young lady was sent home the Saturday, I learned of this. I knew there was something happening, but I was not completely certain as to what action was going to be taken, because I was told that something was happening. My first serious thinking on the matter was when, and I can tell you who, Cheryl Ann Pemberton, who works in the Citizenship Investment Unit, who knows me well. She texts me and says, "What's going on? Why is this going on up there?" and so forth. That's when I realized that this thing had reached St. Kitts and that it was turning out to be something different from what maybe was anticipated. And so I began to give serious thinking as to how maybe this should be handled, but it has already happened. The Saturday morning, I was on my way to look at the heats. I had not checked my cell phone for the morning to read emails, etc., until I was in the vehicle to go. And then I saw the email that was informing me that Kim has been withdrawn. I said, wow. I was on my way to the races. They were going to start first at 10, and then they said, we will run at 12:30 around that time. So you can come for 12:30. So I was on my way there. And I said, you know what? Let me try and see if I can reach Kim. And I emailed him. That must have been then about 11:30 or thereabouts. And in a matter of minutes, he responded. And my email to him was, Kim, there seems to be an impasse between you and the Olympic Committee. Can't we put this behind us and settle this when we get home? We're here to run, let us do it for the glory of the country, for the glory of the sport, for your own advancement. And he responded. Something like, boss, there's really an impasse. Then told me one or two things about maybe the Saturday, what I interpreted to have been the Saturday situation. And then he said he was outside of the village. And I emailed him back. I didn't have his number, but I had his email address. And so I said, well, can't you run still? Can't we do something at this moment? And he said, boss, they already pulled me. So there's nothing I could have done. And I said that because I felt that it was going to have serious implications, as it is playing out now. There's now anger, a lot of things being said, and it's really a pity that these situations had not really been settled before, because it seems as though it's long-time things. But you see, and I spoke about it last week on my own program, I think, when we go out there to represent our country, we must remember there is a responsibility that we have. And that goes for not only the athletes, it goes as well for the management team and the officials. There are rules and regulations and guidelines, and these must be adhered to. You have the right to challenge them, but up there on the field of play is not the place, in my opinion, to challenge them. Get these things out of the way before we go out there to wash our dirty linens in the whole of London and the world. That was not good. And I believe that there are serious lessons that we would have learned from this. One thing I need to say is that the association, AAA, and the NOC are independent organizations. I was not even certain if I had tried to intervene, I would have been doing the right thing. And that is why I think protocols need to be established. One of the lessons that we should learn from this experience is to what extent can finality of action resides only within the organization, or whether there can be some national, governmental, ministerial input, because these are protocols which have not been established, except that we, the government, allow the organizations to operate independently. I believe that at the end of the day, we have been in the media spotlight, but not in the way we wanted to be in the media spotlight. That's why when I really saw the heats, I saw the first heats, can't remember the name of the athlete, he came 5th. But the second heats in which we competed, our athlete came 4th. I followed him throughout on my phone, video phone. And he was right there until the final few meters when he fell back. But he's good. And he must be encouraged. And then the final heat, I don't know if you all are aware of that, would have had Kim. And when you look at the times the other athletes in that same group, when you look at the times that they had done, times registered on the sheets that I had, Kim was the best. So I'm almost certain could have won, at least to the semifinals. And that is why I think that it was troubling. Why it happened, I don't know.